21-year-old was arrested in January last year amid allegations surrounding images and videos that emerged online. He was later charged with attempted rape, controlling and coercive behavior, and assault, occasioning actual bodily harm. The striker, who has also played for England once, denied the charges, and he had been preparing to go on trial later this year.
The story of Mason Greenwood.
Charges of attempted rape and assault have been dropped against Manchester United footballer Mason Greenwood. Key witnesses withdrew their involvement from the probe, but United will now conduct their own investigation. The 21-year-old was arrested in January last year amid allegations surrounding images and videos that emerged online.
Is far from over.
Now, the Manchester United striker Mason Greenwood is to leave the club after what's being described as mutual agreement after an internal inquiry into his conduct. The player was arrested in January 2022 in connection with material which was published online, but charges including attempted rape and assault were dropped just over a year later. He's now admitted making mistakes, but has insisted, "I did not do the things I was accused of." Manchester United said they had now decided it would be most appropriate for Greenwood to continue his career elsewhere.
Because although he had those charges dropped...
and they're just saying that charges including attempted rape and assault against the Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood have been now discontinued, as they say, by the Crown Prosecution Service. So the Crown Prosecution Service taking that decision to discontinue, as they say, the aspect. We've got more coming through with a police statement saying criminal proceedings against a 21-year-old man in connection with an investigation opened in January 2022 have today been discontinued by the CPS. Chief Superintendent Michaela Kerr, the head of the Public Protection Unit, said, "Given the significant media coverage of this case, it is only fair that we share the news that the 21-year-old man who had been arrested and charged in connection with an investigation opened in January 2022 no longer faces criminal proceedings in relation to this."
He signed with Champions League side Marseille. What really bothers me is that a defender of Greenwood is a man who played for Arsenal, Manchester City, and Marseille, including the French national team. And here is what this figure, who is larger than life to many, including in France, said on the subject. That being Samir Nasri, a France national team player and prolific midfielder in his day. And Nasri would go on to be quoted as saying this: "If she, as in Harriet Robson, has forgiven him, who are we to judge? That's the point. If your wife has forgiven you, we can forgive you. If she hadn't forgiven him and he had been found guilty and had received that sentence in England, she would have said it was normal." This is just a flat out preposterous position to take. One, by the way, you didn't have to take. One of the best messages I saw on this came from Marva, who wrote, "As well as being a morally bankrupt position, it also just makes no logical sense. Because that would mean that if someone continues to forgive and stay in a relationship with someone who regularly abuses them, we should all just be fine with it." The details of this case are flat out disgusting, to say the least. 8 days after a 1-0 home win against West Ham in January of 2022, Greenwood would be placed under arrest on suspicion of rape and assault after police became aware of graphic images and videos circulating online. Those videos show a man, who appears to be the footballer, shouting at the alleged victim, who says she does not want to have sex with him. He'd allegedly say, "I don't give an F what you want, you little blank." In addition, per The Guardian, the footballer was also charged with monitoring the complainant's social media accounts and making threats and derogatory comments towards her, amounting to a serious effect upon her, a court was told last year. Thus, CPS, or the Crown Prosecution Service, the body responsible for prosecuting criminal cases in England and Wales, announced that Mason Greenwood had been charged with attempted rape, assault, occasioning actual bodily harm, and controlling and coercive behavior. He would deny all the charges brought against him. Then, in February 2023, the CPS said the charges were discontinued after key witnesses withdrew their involvement, and new material came to light. They said, in this case, a combination of the withdrawal of key witnesses and new material that came to light meant there was no longer a realistic prospect of conviction. In these circumstances, we are under a duty to stop the case. But now we know why this case was stopped altogether. It can now be reported, however, that key witnesses withdrew cooperation from the police investigation in April of 2022. A court heard last October how a central plank in the inquiry had collapsed only 4 months after Greenwood was arrested. The mayor of Marseille, meanwhile, would say this of Greenwood when his name was being floated around as a potential member of that very club. Greenwood's behavior is unspeakable, unacceptable. Hitting his partner, I saw images that deeply shocked me. Beating up his partner like this is shameful for a man, and I don't think he can have a place on the team. The values of Marseille and the values of Olympique de Marseille are anything but that. It's anything but. Can you imagine violence against women? Do you realize that? And he wants to play for Olympique de Marseille, Greenwood? It's a disgrace. I suppose my question is this. Why did Nasri say this? Why did he feel the urge to speak on this? And even if this is how he felt, this is one of those moments where you really have to think about what you're saying. You really have to. Because what I think Nasri is showing is how out of his depth he is in speaking on subjects such as these. People will remember this. Fans will remember this. Media members will remember this. And it should not be lost on us that his logic is flat out stupid. How is this your defense? You could have... These guys are media trained, man. He could have easily gone with the, well, everyone deserves a second chance. Well, he's learned from his mistake. Well, although he was never charged and the case ended under dubious circumstances, everyone deserves a second chance and I hope he succeeds at Marseille. Like, you could have said any of that jargon, any of that BS jargon. But you went with, well, if she's forgiven him, who are we to judge? If your wife's forgiven you, we can forgive you. If she had forgiven him and he'd been found guilty, you're now reaching different layers, which is also implying you don't or have not read up on or educated yourself on victims of abuse and why they go back and why they feel they are stripped of their own being. I mean, if I gave a letter grade here, it would be an F- for Samir Nasri. Deeply disappointed. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYT Sports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.